Hey, this is Kirk Graham, and you're listening to the Making of an Exception podcast. And today we've got Bethany Schrock. What's up, girl?
Hi, Kirk.
Thanks for being here. You're a legend. Thanks for being here.
Honor, pleasure. It's all a pleasure.
It's a great words. The pleasure's mine.
There you go.
It's all mine.
I was overthinking it.
No, it's a good start.
Hey.
Let's do it. Okay, Bethany, you are a photographer. You're a businesswoman, and I've known you for a few years, and I know a little bit of your story and journey, especially over the last year, which is crazy. And so I'm excited for this next hour to be able to chat about your life and all that you've gone through, all that God's brought you through, and who you are today. And so let's start there. Let's start with who you are today and what you're doing, the business you run, and you're a wife. You're a dog mom. So yeah, go for it.
Proud dog mom to a poodle. So what does that make me?
Tucker. His name is Tucker.
His name is Tucker. Super cute. I'm married to my best friend, and I don't just say that. I actually love my husband, Wes, and I like hanging out with him a lot. Living in downtown St. Paul, and yeah, just living it day by day.
St. Paul, Minnesota.
St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yeah, your husband, Wes, he is a former soccer player.
Superstar, soccer superstar.
Yeah. Shattuck St. Mary.
Yeah, there you go.
He'll be on the podcast one day.
Ooh, good. I'll listen to that one and all of them because I'm really jazzed about this podcast, may I say. But yeah.
You may say it.
Okay.
It's a strong start to this episode.
Okay, good. But yeah, so Wes played soccer. He got recruited from Kentucky to Minnesota to play soccer in high school. So at 15, he moved.
Yep.
And I love that I'm already talking about my husband so much because I really like him.
Yes.
And then he walked to the nearest church just to get involved. And it just happened to be River Valley Church. And he started volunteering, became a worship pastor, was the youngest hire on staff. We met, which is also kind of crazy, and got married real young at 20.
Yep. How many years ago? 2 years?
2 years ago. Yeah. So we've been married for 2 years.
You had an all-star groomsman in your wedding, right?
Was definitely Kirk. So yes. You were a groomsman.
I was in your wedding. I know.
I
can't even believe it.
I know.
Feels like forever ago.
It does.
But I love that.
So married, and yeah, we both are artists. He does music, he writes songs, and I do photography and creative direction, and we're just the black sheep of our family.
Stop it.
Yeah, kind of.
Your photography business is called Beth Cath.
Yep.
And Catherine is your middle name.
And the reason why, may I just say, is because I knew that I was going to marry Wes way before we could even get engaged because we'd only been together for so long.
So you didn't want your maiden name?
Yes, I didn't want my maiden name, but it would be creepy if I changed it to Schrock. Bethany Schrock.
Like a little too soon before he proposed.
Yeah, or before like he asked me out, you know.
Yeah. But before you were dating, you thought you were going to marry this guy?
Well, yes. In an interesting way. We dated for a year and we were 17. We fell fast in love.
Yep.
But we were so young. I didn't know who I was. How could I be married to someone if I don't know who I am? So I broke up with him all of a sudden. And Sweet Wes was like, how can we work on this? Let's talk about this. Let's work on it together.
He's the best.
And I go, no, we're breaking up. Bye. And then we were apart for
what a jerk.
I know. I am.
I'm just kidding, you're not.
For a year we were apart. And that's when just figured out who I was. I moved out. I bought a car when I was 17. I had like $20 in my bank account.
But you owned a car.
But I owned a car, so everything was fine. And I lived in the city, so that was even cooler.
Yep.
I started dabbling with photography. I was a nanny. I was a waitress so that I could buy groceries. And in that time apart, I was like, Wes is the only one. I want to be with him. And he was still heartbroken. He will say that. And he didn't want to get back together with me because he was afraid I was going to break his heart again.
Yes.
And so I just kind of made it my mission. One day, Wesley will fall back in love with me.
Yes.
And
he did.
He fell back in love with me. I knew I was going to be with him forever. We dated, got married. We had the best groomsman ever, Kirk.
Yes.
and happily married for 2 years.
That's so awesome. And married the rest of your life.
Yep,
It's gonna be
basically.
great. Cool. Tell me about your family upbringing. I mean, I know some of your story and your family, but you were raised in Minnesota.
Raised in Minnesota, I am one of 6 kids.
Yep.
We were
Big family.
huge family, amazing parents.
Where are you within the 6?
Second to last.
Yep. Second youngest.
Yep. There you go. Youngest.
I mean, you
last.
say it how you want.
There's a
It's
lot
fine.
of us. I grew up with one other sister and 4 brothers. We were all homeschooled.
Yes. Why did you say it with such? You said it with a stigma.
Okay, well, let's be real.
Okay. You're
Is there
you're
a stigma?
awesome.
There
no,
is.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm proudly homeschooled. I say it because
You said it like not proud.
No, I said it because I'm amazed that my mother homeschooled 6 kids.
Yeah. She's a legend. She's
Freaking
amazing.
powerhouse.
Yes.
I wouldn't have the patience to homeschool 1 kid, so hats off to her for eternity. But I was homeschooled, and actually growing up, I had a lot of learning disabilities.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And I almost really am indebted to my mom because she spent so much time.
Like what learning disability?
Dyslexia.
Yep. So you see words backwards or letters
Yep.
backwards.
Or growing up, I would look at a page and it would be like word puzzle, trying to read.
Yeah.
And so I would.
So each word is like you're trying to figure it out.
Yes, all over again. And also short-term memory, like disability, which is where you can't remember what you just learned.
No way.
So I would study all night for a test over and over, and I would fail the next day. And when I got into a normal school system, and my teachers would be like, Bethany, you got to study. You're going to fail.
Yeah, and you're like, I studied.
I spent so much time, and I would have all these kids in the class who don't study, get A's.
Yeah.
So my mom decided to homeschool me and the other kids. And by 5th, 6th grade, I then went into a school system. And that was, I loved it for the social aspect, but for the learning aspect.
Super difficult.
Oh, yeah. And let's be real, when you're in school, if you get a good grade on a good test, you got it together,
Yeah.
When you are so nervous because it's coming up to your time to read a paragraph down the line, when it's like the student in front of you has to read a paragraph, then you read the next paragraph.
Yeah.
And I would plan it perfectly when to ask to go to the bathroom so I didn't have to read.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember being nervous, when we would do class reading, nervous, oh, it's going to be my turn. And you're thinking about man, she just read so fast.
Gosh.
I feel like she's
Dang it, Sarah,
the best
you read that so well. Well, now I'm going to look horrible.
Yeah, totally. I remember Nikki Hansen was the best. She was the best reader. And, and then it would be like me. And then I'm tripping over my words or whatever.
And it's so embarrassing.
I'm trying to identify with you. I
appreciate
didn't
it.
have dyslexia.
No.
To be clear.
But everyone understands a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And at a young age, thankfully my parents were great and were like, Bethany, this isn't who you are, you're going to overcome this.
Yeah.
And over a lot of time, I did. I still get lefts and rights mixed up all the time.
It's all good.
Just ask my husband when I'm giving directions. Take a left. Why aren't you taking a left? Oh, I mean a right. But
just use your phone.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying. But I think through that's where I found art.
Yeah.
And that's how I found, I can't read a book, but I can look at the pictures and I can understand what's going on.
By looking at the pictures,
yes.
Yeah. To interpret.
Yeah. So Berenstain Bears was my jam because I could.
The pictures made sense.
Yes, they did. Finally, once. And so I couldn't read chapter books, but I would read Berenstain Bears and then I would draw my own stories that didn't have any words, but through the pictures you could understand what was happening.
Yeah.
And that kind of became my outlet.
Yeah, totally. That's crazy. And so from there, at what point did you start picking up photography? Because that's currently your business.
Yep.
Was it in middle school, high school? Did you find a camera in your house?
It was in middle school, and my dad was always the dad walking around with the camera, taking pictures of the kids all the time. And I remember that my mom came home one day from the grocery store, and I was helping her unpack and there was some really pretty looking pears. And I took a pear and I went over to my fireplace and I took pictures of this pear next to these candles against the
super artsy,
the brick backdrop. And I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done.
No way.
And my parents were so sweet. I'm like, yeah, Bethany, this is
Good
awesome.
job. Yes.
They printed it off for me and they put it in a frame.
Yes.
They're amazing. And from that moment on, I was like,
do you still have that photo?
I actually do.
Yes. I want to see it.
I'll dig it up for you.
All right. Send it. We'll throw it in the show notes.
Okay.
It's a cool thing to say.
That was really cool.
It's like a wink. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
It will be in the show notes.
And from that moment on, I was like, I can take a bunch of things and I can make it look however I want to and take a picture. This is really fun. So from then on, I would beg my friends, hey, come outside and can I take pictures of you? And I got used to that, and I loved people, so it was really easy and fun. And then seniors, I was, I think 13 at this time. Seniors in my high school were asking that I would take their senior pictures.
No way.
Yeah.
So you're a freshman.
Yeah.
Taking senior photos.
And my dad was like, you know, Bethany, you could charge them like $50.
Yeah, start a business.
And I was like, no way. That's way bigger than my allowance. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So my dad was my second shooter on the first wedding I photographed at 14 years old.
Wow.
Like, what a champ. My dad was my second shooter.
Yes.
I think I got paid like $300. And
$300 for your first session?
Yeah. Well, no, wedding. This was a
first
wedding.
Full wedding. Sorry,
Full
I thought
wedding.
it was a senior session.
Oh, no. First session was $50. Don't forget the pricing.
So first wedding, $300.
Yep.
Your dad's second shooting.
Yeah, and he did it for free. I didn't have to pay him.
Yeah.
What a sweet man. It was, I just remember holding all these 20s. And I was like, I can actually get paid for something I like to do. I don't have to be good at math.
Yeah.
I found it.
Done deal. You found your passion.
Yep.
You found what you're good at.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I know, again, I do know you and know your story, but talk about your upbringing in regards to faith. You were raised in the church.
Yes.
For you, was there a specific moment, was it like you came out of the womb loving Jesus, or was there a moment where it's like, yeah, this is for me. It's not just my family thing, but for me.
Always grew up with Jesus being a name in our household. But when it came real for me was when I wasn't getting told where to go to church, or, it's time to go, or you have to have Christian friends. And that was, I moved out of my house when I was 17.
Yep.
And I moved to Washington, D.C. for a summer.
Oh, I forgot that. Yeah.
Just another little thing to put in your show notes.
Yeah. Where Washington, D.C. is.
Okay.
Just in case you're listening. We'll put a map of the United States.
Whatever. Anyways, just trying to help you out there, Kirk.
That's great. You are.
And to do photojournalism and to be a live-in nanny with a family. And I was kind of on my own, and I could decide to go to church on the weekends if I wanted to or not.
Yeah.
And in that moment of kind of being alone, I didn't really have any friends. And being who I wanted to be, a lot of self-discovery went on. And in that, I was like, I'm actually in love with Jesus. And I believe in this. And I want to spend my life getting to know him. And it's funny because all your life, your parents will, encourage you and help you learn this, and you'll go to church, but it isn't until you have that, that moment that you can fully kind of will always be an anchor to you for the rest of your life.
You'll always remember that moment.
Exactly.
I remember I was a senior in high school.
Yeah.
And I had gone on a trip with my dad to Africa, and it was the first time, pretty much my whole life, I was raised in the church. My dad was a pastor. I had every resource given to me to learn about Jesus. I'd heard all the stories, grew up in Sunday school. I mean, everything. But for the first time in my life, for probably more than 5 days in a row, I read the Bible.
Yeah.
And with my dad and spending time with him and spending time with the Lord. And I realized, my goodness, I'm on the other side of the planet. Other people believe this stuff too, because my dad was teaching at a Bible school there, and so there's all these other African Christians, and like, man, this is a global thing. This is not just I grew up in Wisconsin. This is not just a Wisconsin thing or North Dakota thing or Midwest. Like Jesus is a global thing, and somehow 2,000 years after he walked this planet, people live their lives and give their eternities, like trust their eternities to this guy. And for me, like, that was the moment where it's like, this is real for me, you know, and I'll never forget that moment.
And what I think is so cool, and unlike any other religion, is that it's okay to still be learning.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to have it. Like, I don't have it all figured out. I'm still learning. And I think through life, you're going to go through circumstances that will kind of test that. And it's okay to have moments where you're like, hey, God, hello, I'm freaking out over here.
Yeah.
And man.
Yeah, and situational too, like to know that God's with me and to know that he's everywhere at all times, to know that he cares about me and he knows what I'm going through. But if I'm going through something tough, to still have moments, and God knows that we will have these moments where it's like, God, are you there? God, are you with me? God, do you see? God, can you answer this prayer? Can you meet me where I'm at? You know, like, I think I love what you said, that God knows us as humans, and he came to rescue us as humans. We don't have to be gods in and of ourselves. Like, he came to rescue us, you know, so he knows our shortcomings, he knows our doubts, he knows our failures and all that. And he lets us kind of walk through that. I love that. Yeah. Christianity is a journey. There's a moment of salvation that even the Bible says that while we're sinners, like in the midst of our sin, when you believe in your heart, confess with your mouth, Jesus is Lord, you're saved. It's a moment. But the rest of your life, there's this journey of, you'll have doubts, you'll have like highs and lows, you have ebbs and flows, but God knows that about us, and he covers it all. It's awesome.
What a relief.
Seriously.
I wouldn't, man. So podcast done. Wow. Okay.
Podcast done. Yeah, great. We've done it.
We've arrived.
It's awesome. Hey, tell me this story, because I know about it and I got to witness it through social media. But you and your husband, you guys felt called and had opportunity to take a little bit of time off. Not a little bit, it was like 3 months, right? Like
2 months.
2 months.
Around 2 months.
And you guys hooked up with an organization or a few different organizations, and you did photos all around the world for some missions organizations, and got to travel everywhere. Where did you go? What were you doing?
Yeah.
How did that come about? Just insane that you just left everything, said, we're just going to go try this for 2 months.
Yeah. Well, one thing about Wes and I, even though we're married, we don't want to, not saying everyone does this. Let me back up. We want to keep on living our lives and trying new things and keep on growing up together. And so one thing that we've always wanted to do is just kind of leave everything and live out of a backpack and travel.
Yeah.
But not like, we wanted to do something with a little bit of weight to it. I'll always remember Wes saying, I wouldn't feel okay with just leaving my job at the church to just like go travel and drink coffee and not invest in the
travel
world.
Just to travel.
Yeah, exactly.
To leave what he felt he was called to do.
Thank you.
Great, yeah.
Yeah. To leave what I feel called to do, to then not do something that also has a purpose and a calling.
To be fair though, that is an investment in that can be an investment in your marriage. So if somebody's out there like, and they're planning, like, I'm going to take a month off or something like that, like, even if it was travel, just travel, like an investment into your marriage, which is awesome.
Or even see the world, open up your eyes a little bit. Yeah. But for us in that time of our life, we were so invested in our church and our jobs and what we were doing. We needed there to be something there. Yeah. And so we just always, thought about that, kind of prayed about that. And we were having dinner with some really good friends who just got back from the mission field. Yeah. They got back from Cairo, Egypt. And we were just talking to them, and we mentioned this little pipe dream we had. Yeah. The next day, I woke up to an email, and that guy was like, hey, okay, if you want to travel the world, I can send you to how many countries you can get to. All you have to do is pay for your plane tickets, and we would love for you to take pictures of all these different families on the mission field to give them new prayer cards, to help them with their websites that they have. And I would love for Wes to lead worship to these different missionary group sites for an organization called Live Dead. And all of a sudden we looked at each other. We're like, whoa. Wait.
Like you can just do that?
We can do that? Okay. And it was through relationship. I've worked with Live Dead before. And so we then went to our church and went to our lead pastor and we're like, hey, we have this dream. Can we leave work? Can Wes leave work for like 2 months? And our pastor was like, you know what? I always wished I did something like that, and I would never want to stop you. So yes, go for it. Which is crazy that we could just like leave our jobs for 2 months.
Yeah.
And still have jobs when we get back.
Yeah.
So then we packed up our bags. We paid for all of our plane tickets, and we went to a total of 8 or 9 countries in the Middle East.
So name as many as you can remember just off the top of your head. Where did you go?
Ready? We got Cairo, Egypt.
Yeah.
Amman, Jordan. Calcutta, India, Yerevan, Armenia. We did Kenya, Nairobi. Dang it. Yeah.
Still, it's crazy.
There's a few.
Yeah, and what major cities in this world. Yeah, and you saw. You're at the pyramids. Did you ride a camel?
Oh, we rode a camel near the pyramids.
Yes.
I could not believe that was my real life. It was insane.
Yeah.
And what was crazy is packing that backpack for, 2 months where you're going to Calcutta, India, where it's around 100 degrees and you have to be modest.
Yep.
But then you go to Yerevan, Armenia, where it's about 5 degrees and constantly snowing. And how do you pack for that?
Yeah. How did you? Did you have to buy stuff along the way? Or?
No, we didn't buy stuff along the way. Just a lot of layers. Thankfully, growing up in Minnesota, you just really learn to prepare for the elements.
That's a strong Minnesotan accent.
No, I don't know what that was.
Southern. It's like deep south, the opposite of Minnesota.
Yeah, it was. Whatever.
It's a good accent though.
So just lots of layers, and I ended up throwing away a pair of shoes at the end of it because they were just trashed.
Yeah.
But what I loved about that trip is we saw the world through the people that were living there. Mm-hmm. We would stay in host homes. So we'd sleep on someone's couch or pull out mattress, and, we got to ride camels, which was awesome, but we just lived kind of day-to-day life with missionaries who are living.
Just like local people. Yeah,
who are living on the field and eat what they ate and get sick because of what they ate. And time change and everything, and trying to learn all those different languages in that 2 month span was impossible, and you get all your languages mixed up.
Yeah.
But to fully see people and cultures as they are, not as, oh, I'm an American and then coming into your culture, and why do you cook something like this?
Yeah.
Or why do you build your buildings like this?
Yeah.
It's cool because, I've grown up in Western religion my entire life of, Christianity. And I'll just say this, seeing other religions all over the globe, it's all about, you need to fit into this mold. You need to wear this. You need to pray like this. And we saw certain cultures get stripped away to fit into this mold of religion of, Islam or something.
Yeah.
But with Christianity, we were there in a Kenyan church on Sunday singing worship music that wasn't in English, but they're all worshiping God in the way that God wants to be worshiped, and it was different than how my Sundays are here in Minnesota. And that's awesome because God is just
there's a freedom.
Yeah.
And it's tough to say because God's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And there's so much sameness about who God is, but also so much uniqueness and relatability with how we get to relate with him, how we get to talk with him at any time. Even the fact that we can approach God as broken people. There are some religions where it's who are you to even think that you could be around God, so they set up different, anyways, I think that that's an awesome point that you got to see all these different cultures with your own experience of growing up in America, and they're all worshiping the same God, but through their own expression and through their own worship style, whatever it may be.
And I don't know these churches that I visited in Kenya, Africa, that are worshiping Jesus, but God knows them. And every
Totally.
Sunday,
Yeah, you don't follow him on Instagram.
no. And every Sunday when I'm worshiping Jesus, so are these guys in Kenya, Africa. And we're doing it completely differently in completely different languages. And God says, thank you. You know, I love that sound.
Yeah, I think about that point every time we do communion at church. The church we're part of, River Valley, we celebrate communion once a month, and during that service, and as a pastor, I get to lead that moment, and everybody takes the bread, which represents the body of Christ that was broken for us. You know, Isaiah talks about that by his stripes we're healed. We get healing because of what Jesus has done for us. We get eternal salvation because of what Jesus has done for us. And then the cup, we all take the cup together, which represents the blood of Christ, that now, because we've given our lives to the Lord, he's saved us, rescued us. Now God the Father views us through the lens of that blood, which I'm not trying to preach right now. I'm just saying that in that moment, while we all take communion together, I think about not only the millions and millions of people that are celebrating communion on the same weekend. Churches do it all over the country, all over the world. They're doing communion because it's something that Jesus said, hey, do this in remembrance of me. And millions of people around the world at the same time are kind of having that same act of eating the bread, tipping their heads back to drink the cup. But then the billions of people throughout the last 2,000 years that have done it, like all these people celebrating the same thing through the same act. That's cool for me. So the side note, but
I'm just imagining that right now in my head. Like when we all get to heaven, we get to meet all these people.
I know.
From around the world.
It's gonna be a party.
That have been following and reading the same book that I've based my life off of.
Yes.
Oh man,
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be awesome. So on your trip and doing this thing, what would be something like while you're there, maybe you're praying through or asking God about or believing for? Because I know where this interview is about to go. And your life took a hard turn. But in those moments of traveling with your husband, do you feel like God was preparing you in any way for what was about to happen?
Absolutely. A lot of perspective, and this realization that I wanted something more. And, I was tired of kind of just being in a picket fence relationship with God. And I wanted to, okay, God, whatever you got, give it to me. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do it.
I feel like that's been like as long as I've known you, you've had that attitude. Like you're adventurer, you're thrill seeker, you're dream big and let's go do it.
Yeah.
You're hyper affirming. And I've known you not just that you've been a part of our church, but we were talking about earlier, like you interned at the church.
Yes.
In the department that I was leading at the time. And
Which can I side note just say one of my favorite memories of you is I'm walking past your office and I'm like, oh, hey, Kirk, how's it going? And you're sitting writing a sermon and you're a worship pastor at the time. And I was like, oh, cool. Are you like preaching? And you're like, no. I just always am choosing to have like 3 or 4 sermons prepped and ready to go because you just never know when I'm going to need them or when I'm going to want to be ready. And I was like, who is this guy?
That's so funny. I probably haven't preached those sermons.
I would love to hear them.
Yeah, who knows? They're floating around there. Actually, it was about communion. I just preached it. No, I'm just kidding.
That'd be
just kidding.
awesome.
Yeah,
you just blew my mind.
No, that's not true. Anyways, no, it's a good memory.
Thank you.
I was writing a sermon.
There you go. Good job. And here you are writing a podcast, sharing a podcast.
So you feel like God was giving you a lot of perspective in that time.
Yeah.
And preparing you because what was about to happen. You and I'll let you explain it. But you found out a month later. Was it a month later? And this is last year.
This time.
Last year, this time. And so what month is it right now? We're in May.
Yeah.
So a year ago, you found out that you had a brain tumor.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Man, well, got back from the trip, was feeling really energized and was getting ready for my busy season of photography. Okay, I did my little God mission for the year. I'm ready to go. Now let's get back to business.
Yeah. You're like laughing at yourself.
Oh yeah, I know. I do that a lot. Looking back of how my mindset was.
Yeah.
And so I'm in my studio and I'm editing and I can't move my left hand. That's I'm trying to edit on the keyboard, and it just really, really hurts. And you know when you're outside and it's really cold outside, and you come inside and your like skin kind of aches.
Yeah.
You know that aching feeling?
Yeah.
My whole hand down to the bone felt aching, and it came on really fast. And I was like, shake it off. I got stuff to do. I'm a busy woman, okay? I'm building a business here.
Yeah, let's do this. What is this weakness feeling, this pain feeling?
I'm above pain. It's a state of mind, all that. Anyways, so keep on working. And then now all of a sudden, my whole left arm is in so much pain. And
it's all happening within one day?
Oh.
Or like over the course of a week?
No, me sitting there at the chair, editing within hours.
Crazy.
So... I call my husband, feeling something kind of funny. Just going to go to the doctor, figure out. You can come if you want.
Yeah.
Obviously, he comes. Go to urgent care.
Because Wes is awesome.
Because Wes is awesome. That's what you really need to know at the end of this podcast. Yeah. Anyways, so go to the emergency room and urgent care, sorry. And, they do blood. Nothing's there. Do a strep test. Nothing's there. There's, let's just do an MRI of your spine to make sure that there's nothing going on, with your nerves.
Yep.
So, oh man, it's going to take an hour. I have stuff I need to do. Fine. I'll get an MRI. And, also just to put on top of this, growing up, I was sick a lot.
Yeah.
Just always had a low immune system. And so I always found it really inconvenient, and I always felt like a burden whenever I was sick.
Whenever you're sick.
Yeah. And so the fact that I was taking time out of my husband's day, out of my day, to go to the emergency room where there's probably nothing wrong, I was so irritated with myself, and I already felt like a burden.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't convenient for my time. So I get out of the MRI, and the nurse goes, okay, so you're going to wait around for the lab results, or do you want the ER nurse to call you? And I was like, oh, I'll just have them call me.
Yeah.
And then he looks at me and he goes, maybe you should wait around for the results. I'm like, no. They can just give me a call. It's no big deal.
Yeah, it's all
He's
good.
like, I'll have you wait in the waiting room, and I'll have the ER nurse call you.
At that point, did you feel like, man, that was weird?
No. I was
so you're like, oh, okay.
I was like, he doesn't understand how inconvenient and what a burden I am right now. So I'm sitting in the waiting room, and the front nurse desk lady, she, Bethany Schrock, can you come up here?
Yep.
Yes. Come up there, and she has the phone. She gives me the phone. She slides me a piece of paper and a pen. And I kind of look at her. She's like, you might need this.
It's like, thanks, lady.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. So I take the phone. Hey, what's up? Oh, hi, Bethany. I'm just letting you know that I got your MRI, and your nerve and your spine looks awesome. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Well, everything's fine besides the brain tumor that we found. Wait, what? Oh, you didn't know that you had a brain tumor?
No.
Yeah.
She didn't know she was giving this
For the first time? No. Oh, well, you have a meningioma in your middle cranial fossa, and we're going to probably have to operate. So I'm going to have a surgeon reach out to you in the next few days, and we'll let you know. And all of a sudden, this information is just like, whoa.
Sorry, did you say Mufasa?
Middle cranial fossa.
Got it.
And I'm not trying to write this down. I don't know how to spell middle cranial fossa.
No.
Meningioma, what?
No.
So I'm writing all this down. And okay, a surgeon's going to reach out to me in the next week. Okay, all right, thank you, bye. And I just kind of stay there. And the nurse is looking at me, who just gave me the phone. She hung up. And I was like, excuse me, do you know how to spell middle crania fossa?
No.
So they told me the right spelling, because I knew I'd probably want to Google it later.
Yeah.
And see on WebMD when it says I'm going to die. LOL. And
is that what it said, by the way? Like when you're Googling some of the stuff? Like
WebMD always tells you you're going to die.
Okay.
Let's be real. So I wrote it down, and I'm walking back to Wes. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is really inconvenient that I'm sick right now. And they said it wasn't a big deal, so I guess it's not. Okay, so Wes looks at me and he's like, hey, babe, everything good? I'm like, yeah. I mean, they said I had a brain tumor, but I think it's fine. And that was kind of the beginning of a new trip for us.
Yeah. So how do you move forward finding out the worst news of your life? But everybody's, you have doctors that are saying, it's gonna be okay. We'll, figure out a plan forward, all that stuff. I mean, your life stops. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
You are somebody that runs 100 miles an hour and your life stops, and it has to stop, yeah. I mean, my follow-up questions are, I have a million of them, but there's almost, we'll get eventually to the good that comes out of this.
There's good.
But in that moment,
well,
how does Wes respond? How do you respond to the fact that there's this thing in your brain, and everything about brain surgery sounds like I'm gonna die?
Well, I'll continue with the next day. We're just waiting to get some call back from an ER doctor. And I actually ended up passing out a few times that day.
No way.
And the pain went all the way down to my leg then. So all the left side of my body. And we ended up having to go back to the doctor. And then I was hospitalized for the next week. And I ended up developing seizures. Had to get a spinal tap. My parents, had to stay in the hospital. My sister flew down. So it ended up becoming this whole week ordeal, where one day I'm fine and the next day I'm hooked up to all these leads and I'm doing all these tests and I don't even know what's going on with myself.
Yeah.
And no one's really telling me what's going on. And I'm supposed to photograph a wedding that weekend.
How did you, somebody take care of that? Like, I mean, are you thinking about your life or are you thinking about my business?
I'm thinking about my business.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about, it's Wednesday and I have to be out of here because I'm supposed to shoot a wedding on Saturday, even though I can't go to the bathroom without someone helping me because I will collapse.
Yeah.
And that just kind of explains the state of mind I was in. Of my entire life. I was never good enough in school. And I finally found out this art that I was good at. And so this is now the one thing I'm good at and I can't be bad at it.
Yeah.
And okay, I'm sick and there's something going on and I'm passing out, but I can't not show up to this wedding because I can't let these people be upset at me.
Wow.
And I've built this business and I can't let it just crumble and I can't let it get an F like I got in school.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make it to that wedding. Thankfully, my husband and our friends are incredible. And they said, excuse me, Bethany, you are not shooting that wedding.
Yeah.
And one of my best friends who you're actually interviewing on this podcast, his name is Perry.
Yes.
He'll be over in the blog notes,
subnotes, Perry James.
Perry James. He was like, Bethany, shut up. I'm going to shoot that wedding for you.
Yeah.
Give me your email. I'm going to take over all your weddings that you have this summer.
Wow. And
I'm going to organize all of this. And completely took it off my plate. That doesn't mean that I willingly gave it off my plate.
Oh, you ripped it out of your hands. If a brain tumor doesn't slow you down, it took family and friends.
Yeah. And so that then unfolds a whole journey of about 7 months of countless doctors, countless hospitals, trying to figure out what this tumor is. It was, I don't know if you know this, it was on my optic nerve of my right eye.
Yep.
And so I had to have the conversation with myself. If I get this surgery and I become blind, am I enough?
Yeah, you lose the one thing that you feel like you're good at.
The one thing. And dang it, getting emotional.
It's a good thing. It's all good.
And that's because I'm still soft about it, which is good. I'm so grateful that I had to figure that out at age 22 because the road I was on, I was going to be a workaholic who found all of my identity, all my worth in my work that can so easily go away tomorrow. And if I didn't at this age figure out, okay, am I okay if I'm blind? And I can never take a picture. I can never see a picture. I can never make something ever again. Is God enough? And does God still care? Yeah, he does.
How did you get to that point to be able to say yes? I mean, it's a long process and it's months and all that, I'm sure. And I'm sure it's conversations with you and the Lord, but also with friends and family.
Yeah. I think the grace that God gives us, that we can be angry, and I can be confused and upset, but yet I'll still read in the Bible, the waves will crash over you, but you will not be swept away. And to read this and to know, wow, God wrote this and he spoke this years and years and years and years and years ago, for me to read this right now on my couch. And it never felt more real. And something that's super interesting is I dealt with real bad anxiety about 2 or 3 years ago over emails. Over a shoot, I would have anxiety attacks. Yeah. Literally full-blown panic attacks. I never once, in the midst of any of this health issue stuff, dealt with anxiety.
That's crazy.
I would cry over getting all my emails done. But when it comes to me getting surgery in a few days, no anxiety.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I heard somebody talk about what peace is and how even something small, like managing a few emails or whatever, maybe it's a ton of emails, I don't know, but like something small in our life that can feel like a massive deal, and I'm overwhelmed, over my head, I can't sleep, all that stuff. And you feel like you don't have peace about something that's so small, yet, with God, you could be in the worst moment ever, with the worst news ever, looking something square in the eye. And yeah, I mean, for you, you feel like, am I going to go blind doing this surgery, trying to get this tumor out, trying to treat this? I could lose it all. Yet you have this sense of peace that it feels a lot different. And I'm sure it didn't always feel peaceful, but to what you just said, you didn't deal with the same anxiety or the stress and all that. Like, that's amazing.
And it honestly does surpass all understanding. And I watched the business that I, worked months and months to, get clients for shoots, to have all my quote unquote competitors shoot for me. Yeah. So like, if my hands weren't already like, okay, God, have it all, they were ripped open in that moment. Yeah. And it was a lot of, letting myself just be sad and bummed that this is my life right now. Yeah, just
feel it.
Yep. Let myself feel it. Don't feel bad about feeling it, And I surrounded myself with a small few people that I just knew had vision and that would speak encouragement over me, because that's all I needed and that's all I wanted. And I just really, I talked it out with God. Yep. So
you ended up having the surgery.
Yeah, I got the surgery.
So what happened? You're here today. You're alive.
I'm here and I'm alive. So I found the tumor in May, and then September 4th was our 2-year wedding anniversary. Yep. We enjoyed that, and then September 20th, I showed up to the hospital. I had to scrub myself down, and Wes had to help me because I couldn't move my left hand or my arm in the bathtub, to make sure that there's no germs on my body, to make sure that there's no infection that could then kill me later on the operating table, and showed up for surgery the next morning. Yep. And I just remember all of our best friends were there. My parents were there, and I was totally fine. And I just knew it was going to be fine. I honestly was praying, hey God, when I'm under the knife, can I please visit you in heaven? Yes. I don't remember anything. Yeah. I didn't go to heaven.
You just woke up.
But I then just woke up and I saw Wes right there. And I got out of the hospital 3 days later. And I just had my 6-month post-surgery MRI a few weeks ago. And all is good. No tumor.
It's out.
I'm done.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's amazing. And you're not having seizures and all that stuff, or there's some like setbacks here and there.
You know what? It's so funny because I want it to be like done. I want the story to be done. But actually, last week I had to go to the hospital because I had 20 seizures at my best friend's baby shower. And I had to take an ambulance to the hospital and I had to be there overnight. And I'm like, God, wait, like, aren't we done with this little journey? Like,
yeah, the tumor's out.
Yeah, like the tumor's done, and I trust you, God. Like, so like, aren't I done with this? And can I move on to like my next like phase?
Mm-hmm.
And also you deal with, wait, God, I'm healed. I'm healed. So why am I having pain today?
Yeah.
Why am I having the worst migraine of my life today? Why am I having seizures when I just want to be here for my best friend? And what I'm at right now is, I don't know, you know, and that's okay because he's God and I'm not God.
Yep.
And it keeps me soft and it keeps me dependent. And, you know, oh, that's so unfair. Well, you want to know what? Like, who am I to deserve a life where bad things don't happen? Bad things will happen. But it's my responsibility to become better through the situation and not bitter. And I'm going to continue, you know, to work on myself, to be healthy, to be a good steward of my body. And you want to know what? If I have a seizure, it's going to be okay. It's not the end of me trusting in God and a miracle to be done.
Yeah. You know what's insane about you is that you're still going through it and you're feeling it. And, you know, the Bible talks about, you know, having joy in the midst of our trouble. Like Jesus said, in this world, you will face trial. You know, there will be troubles, but be of good cheer because I've overcome the world. And somehow, you're in the midst of trouble and this trial, yet you are of cheer, you know, and it's okay to be emotional telling a story and all that stuff because you're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And emotion is good.
Yeah.
Like you already said it, feel it. And it's okay to feel it. And it's okay to feel anger and it's okay to not have the answers. It's okay to have all that, but you're of good cheer, which is insane. Like, because I think about like, man, like in life, you go through these tough things and we know Jesus. Imagine if you had to deal with all this stuff and you didn't know Jesus, you know, it's just insane.
I can't.
He's the only one that can bring peace in the midst of a storm. He's the only one that during trouble, we can have a smile on our face. It's insane. So, but that's crazy. You have it.
And it's almost like the sour makes the sweet all the better, you know? So the fact that I can get out today and I can get ready and I can come hang out with you is just the best thing. Like, it's summer right now. And all last summer I was inside laying in bed and I only got outside probably once the entire year. And so this is like my first summer in over a year that I've been able to experience. Yeah.
You skipped last summer.
Yeah. Every day is freaking
the
4th
sun's
of July,
out. What are we doing inside? Let's go.
I know.
Let's go.
Like, give me tank talks every day. Like, I'm just so jazzed. So, like, you know what? I'm not going to focus on how I'm so upset. I'm going to focus on, thank goodness I can be outside. Thank you, Jesus. It's beautiful.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I worked out for the first time in a year today.
Congrats.
I could only walk on the treadmill. I couldn't run. And I said, you know what? That's enough. I'm not going to push myself.
Yeah.
This is a little victory, you know, to be okay with the little victories where
walk on the treadmill.
Talk to myself 3 years ago. That's not enough. I need to be pushing it more. I need to be doing something that's better than anyone else is doing, you know, living off of that like hustle, which I now really hate that word. Because do the best that you can do for where you are in your life. Yeah. Don't look in other people's lanes. Don't focus on what other people are doing because you want to know what your gifting, what you're good at is different than anyone else. And if you focus on what's going on to left and right, you're not going to be able to fully be and thrive in the way that God made you. Yeah. And so, you know what? All I can do is walk on the treadmill. And that's totally fine. Yeah, just walk on the treadmill. Just walk on the treadmill, you guys. Yeah, everybody listening, just walk. No, it's so awesome. And so now you're jumping back also into, you've been doing it for a little while, but business stuff and working. And so what's that been like? Obviously, you have a different gear that you're floating in. Yeah. And it's not just about like get as much done. Yeah. So yeah, what are you doing now? What's Beth Cath Photography up to? Man, you know, in the nitty gritty, I make sure I always have my client's cell phone, because some days this happened. I wake up and I literally can't see out. I can't see out of my right eye. I'm in so much pain. And thankfully, I've been pretty vocal about my story. So a lot of my clients know. Yeah. And thankfully, they're not jerks and they don't freak out. And they say, yes, let's reschedule. Mm-hmm. Also, my little people pleaser has been pushed out of me, because you want to know what? I feel horrible today. I'm not showing up.
Yeah, don't do it.
And to be okay with that. But yeah, I kind of felt like when I was sick, I was honestly so scared that I wasn't going to have work, because in a business where, as much as you put out is as much as you're going to get out, photography.
Wow.
I'm irrelevant.
Yep.
No one cares anymore. No one's going to want to hire me. There's other photographers. I'm done.
Yep.
So I was like, man, do I want to be a barista? What do I want to do?
What else are you passionate about? Yeah.
And thank you, Lord. I have the best clients I've ever had in the history of my business. I've gotten a lot more picky.
Yep.
I'm a lot more conscious of how I spend my time and energy. Mm-hmm. As simple as, you know what? I'm meeting with one client today, and I'll only do one meeting so that I can edit for the rest of the day and I don't overdo it. So saving my energy, choosing what's important to me, doing things not to do it, but doing things because I'm passionate about the project.
Yep.
And so I've been doing a lot more like corporate commercial things, because I can take my time with that. And I really have found that I really love the process of coming up with a story and creating it.
Yeah.
And then I'll photograph it, which I didn't even have time to think about 2 years ago.
Snapping photos.
Yeah, I was just taking photos because I had to make money and I had to be the best.
Yeah.
So in this time of being away, when I got back to working, it almost felt like I was a high school senior. And I was like, man, I can do whatever I want to. What do I want to be when I grow up?
Yes.
So that's me now.
And yeah, that's amazing. Do you, as you look to the future, what are you looking forward to? What are you excited about? I guess the real question I want to ask is not just what are you excited about, but what are the things that matter to you now? And I think business is a part of that. But what matters to you?
Not wanting to be cliche, but honestly meaning it. My family.
By the way, that's not cliche in today's world. Family comes like fourth or fifth on most people's
Family's
list.
Everything. Just if you're listening to this, close your eyes and think to yourself right now, if I was going to stop my job, if I was going to get sick and I had someone and I needed someone to wipe my butt on the toilet, do I have that community around me? Do I have that family around me? And I'm not saying give to get, but I'm saying when all fades away, there's only a few things left that I want to hold on to. So my family, my husband. And so if that means not taking a photo gig so that I have energy to be with my husband later tonight, I'm going to do that.
Yes.
It's man, nothing is in comparison. So focusing on family and doing things with purpose. So if I'm going to get coffee with you, I really want to focus and spend time with you and really engage.
Yeah.
I'm not just getting coffee to network.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you're not just doing it to do it.
I'm not doing it to do it. I don't want to throw out those words. I don't throw out, hey, come over for dinner lightly, because I know how much time and energy it's going to take out of me.
Yeah.
And I really want to invest that. I had someone explain illness and chronic pain to me, and they said, it's almost like you have a gallon of milk every day. When you wake up, getting out of bed, you pour just a little bit of gallon of milk to get out of bed.
Yep.
You making yourself breakfast, it's a little bit more milk. Mm-hmm. Me going to work, a lot of milk. And so it's like, where are you pouring your gallon to? And so family, projects that I'm passionate about, meaningful relationships. I want to love people really, really well, because I've been really loved well this past year. And so even if it's a casual hangout, I just want to be a good friend to whoever I can.
You are a good friend.
Thanks, Kirk.
Yeah, every time I talk with you, you're like the most affirming, most passionate.
That's because I
excited,
believe in you.
Yeah, well,
I do.
Me personally, but you do that for everybody.
Well, I believe in people.
It's true.
I believe in people. So yeah, that's my life right now.
It's a great answer. As we wrap up, how can people find you on the web?
Well, on the web, you can find me at Bethcath, Bech. Wow, I spelt my name wrong. Bech. You guys, I had learning disabilities if you weren't listening. That's awesome. I didn't try to do that. BETHCATH.com. I had to close my eyes to spell that. That's hilarious. And then that's the same for my Instagram handle, Bethcath. And you want to know what? If you're on LinkedIn, I'm there too.
Yeah, go to LinkedIn. That's great. Bethany Schrock.
You got it.
Or Bethcath.
Yeah.
They find it. It's awesome. 2 questions as we close. What's your favorite book of all time?
Okay, you guys. Favorite book of all time. It's not the most studious book. It's not the most chapter binding book. It's Show Your Work by Austin Killingong. Something like that.
Yeah, Show Your Work.
Someone's laughing at me right now in the studio.
Hang on. Is it a picture book?
Half of it is pictures, half of it is words, and it's
I've seen it.
Good read, and it's so good about putting out your work. And you want to know what? It's easy read because frick, I can't read a lot. So everyone go buy it on Amazon, get it right now. It's an easy read. You have no excuse.
And the Berenstain Bears.
And the Berenstain Bears. Oh,
that's your jam.
Yeah, it is.
That's your family.
Yeah, it is, man.
That's awesome. Okay, second question is one piece of advice you'd give to anybody following in your footsteps. Somebody that looks up to you. Maybe it's the same field, maybe it's not, but somebody that looks at your life and everything that you've gone through. Maybe it's somebody that's dealing with health issues or sickness or processing, whatever. One piece of advice you have from, I mean, you threw out a whole ton of advice through the whole podcast.
I have like different genres of advice for different genres of, man.
You just got to pick one.
That's
Somebody's listening and you're going to pick the one.
Dang it. Thanks. No pressure. Okay. One piece of advice. Dang it. I was probably supposed to know this beforehand and now I'm thinking about something.
No.
Dang. And now I'm feeling the pressure under the clock.
Okay. Think about it. Think about it as somebody that is young and they're just getting their creative craft off the ground and they're finding their identity in that craft and they're hustling.
All right.
Hit them.
Okay, one piece of advice mapped into a bunch of other things. Number 1, erase the word should from your vocabulary.
What do you mean by that?
Stop saying, oh, I should be here because other people my age are here. Or I should be, doing this, but I'm not. No. Should is just a shame statement that puts shame on yourself and guilt. No. Say, I could be doing this, but I'm going to do this. Or, you know what? I'm doing this much with my life at this age, and that's totally fine. Be okay with where you are right now in your life and stop saying should and just now start making goals for yourself. Erase the shame that you've put on yourself of learning disabilities, being sick in bed, not being the best you want to be, because you want to know what? At the end of the day, this is where you are right now.
Yep.
And you can choose to go forward or backwards. Let's choose to go forwards against shame and just fully embracing who God has made you to be. If you're sick right now, you're sick and that's okay. If you have a learning disability, that's okay. If you're hustling, don't say hustle. That's okay.
Hustle.
God made you how he did. Embrace that.
Yeah, and everybody's on different paths. I love that. Yeah, just relax.
Man,
just relax. Enjoy life.
Enjoy life.
God made you to enjoy life. So
enjoy the sour so you can enjoy the sweet.
I'm going to tweet that.
Please.
I don't use Twitter. Enjoy the sour so you can enjoy the sweet. All right, I'm gonna sign off. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Kirk.
Kaylee and I, we love you. You and Wes, you guys are some of the greatest people on planet Earth. And I'm not just saying that, you guys just are an amazing couple and greater days are ahead. And I'm so glad that you're alive. I'm so glad that you got vision in your eyes. And I'm glad that you're feeling it. I'm glad that you're learning all that you are. God's already using this story in powerful ways. And so I'm just stoked to see where God takes you and your husband and just your family, your legacy, all that stuff. It's just exciting to watch from a distance. Well, not so far a distance, but just, we're friends with you guys, but it's fun to watch. And thanks for being here today. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, we'd love for you to subscribe to this channel. We've got new episodes releasing every single week. We'd also love to hear your questions or comments. You can comment below. You can also find us on Instagram at Exception Podcast. And I want to give a quick shout out to our producer, Tissel. My name's Kirk Graham, and we'll see you back next week.